Hey, folks, welcome back to Mountain Fortress. I'm here, Doc, with my buddy G-Man, and got a special guest today.
You know, I've been wanting this guest on since we started, basically, and we finally got the opportunity. He's going to speak with us for a few minutes, tell him about some things going on, and I'm sure we'll reminisce about some things, because if you folks want to know anything about how we were when in our childhood, this guy coming up can pretty much tell you.
We're talking about the one and only Ron Browning, my brother. He's pretty well known in Nashville, and unfortunately, the busier it gets, the less I get to see him. But this is a way we can touch base and let you folks know what he's been up to lately. Ron, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be asked to do this. I'm looking at you two, and my mind goes all the way back when you were little boys, dressed as Kiss, in your makeup, listening, sitting in the corner, like you were stoned out of your minds, listening to Kiss. And then I happen to have a cassette recording, Gary. I don't know if you know this or not, of the piano recital that you and Scott did together. I don't know how old you were, really.
8 years old, I believe.
Third grade or something like that. Yeah. So this is great to see you two still together, and you're so adventurous, both of you. I love that. But anyway, so this whole past year, besides working with my regular clients, I got involved with the project with Paramount, doing a TV series based on the lives of George Jones and Tammy Wynette. And that's been a humongous project. I think it's probably been the most difficult project I've ever worked on, because we've worked on and off, but by Zoom first of all, and then they brought me up to New York at the beginning of the year, put me in a high-rise apartment in Chelsea, overlooking the whole city. And we were hoping to get to work together in person during that time, but their movie companies, they were each making another movie at that time. And then Paramount, who brought me up, they could never decide on what was going to be the safest as far as COVID for us to get together to meet in person. So we never met. So I got a free vacation out of all that. And then I came back here, and so finally, October 1st, they brought me up to New York, and that was pretty intense. So we worked every day for long hours at the piano in a rehearsal studio where Cardi B does her stuff. And we were up there until the 11th of November, and every day there was no time off. So that was pretty intense. There's a lot of songs in the series. There are like 32 songs, I believe. Wow. It's crazy. It's been crazy. So it's still not over, because we just start filming, I think, the third week of December, and that's going to be in Wilmington, North Carolina. So I'll have to go there once filming starts, but I won't have to stay there like I did in New York. They're going to bring me in for when they're recording live, the live music for the thing. I apologize for my throat. I've been eating all the cheese that I could possibly get my hands on. And singers are not supposed to do that. So just to let you know.
So now, who are some of the actors that the audience might be familiar with?
Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon just did, he was Dr. Oh, here you go. I thought you might be interested in this. He gave me a gift when we left New York. He played General Zod. Is that right, set up?
Yeah.
He played General Zod in Man of Steel. He was great in that movie. And he did Boardwalk Empire. He just did Iceman. He did the Iceman. He did Nine Perfect Strangers. They're all pretty intense characters, that he plays. And of course, George Jones was pretty intense himself. So
Now, who's the cold?
Jessica
Okay.
Chastain plays Tammy Wynette,
That's cool.
and she, gosh, she's done. Well, her latest film was The Eyes of Tammy Faye Baker, or Tammy Faye, and she did The Help. She was nominated actually for an Oscar in that. She did Scenes from a Marriage. If you haven't watched that, that's pretty intense. She did Ava, Molly's Game, The Zookeeper's Wife, just a bunch of really beautiful, beautiful films.
I know some, we've talked a lot, and I'm not allowed to mention some names. Some names I am, and as far as you sign a confidentiality agreements and things when you work with them. But who are some that you've worked with recently or in the last year or so that you can say that you worked with them as far as vocal coaching? Or are you allowed to?
Well, I work with a lot of the Grand Ole Opry artists over there. Terry Clark. I don't know if you know Terry Clark, Ashley McBride, Pam Tillis. In fact, Pam Tillis and I were coming to our sister's venue in December to do a little Christmas show together.
Wow. This December?
Yeah, this December, but we had to
Did me and
postpone
G-Man
it.
get tickets?
Well, when we do it, so what we had to do is we postponed it until the spring. But
I was trying to
I'm
get
so sorry I had all that cheese. So we postponed it until the spring, because it was going to be better. I didn't know about filming. I didn't know if they were going to call me to come to Wilmington or.
Well, Pam Tillis is a pretty big name. Mel Tillis was her father, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And of course, Ronnie Millsap, I worked with all last week, and I'll be working with him this week. He's on tour. So who else? Well, of course, Alison Krauss. I mean,
Alison Krauss seems like family to us now. She's just a sweetheart.
Well, it still blows my mind that she asked me to walk the red carpet with her.
Yeah.
At the Grammys. So that was the coolest thing, because right before we go in to the red carpet, she said, "I wish there was something that I could say to you that would help prepare you mentally for what's about to happen." She said, "But as many times as I've been through it, I cannot wrap my head around it."
What's it like?
It's like, it's not just one big long red carpet. It meanders around, and it goes through, it seems like hallways and hallways. And down each hallway, there's like a different, you'll have reporters from the East, like, from China and Japan. And then you'll go down another corridor, I've read, and then there will be everybody from Russia and everybody, and they're sticking microphones in your face. And of course,
scary. I would think it'd be a little scary with all the flashes and.
It would be if they knew who you are. See, I mean, they're looking at me like, "Who's this bimbo?" I'm standing there with my finger at my nose, and nobody cares. You know what I mean? But it was really interesting. And then finally, when you get to the main room, where these are the photographers that are taking your picture, and we ended up in Vogue magazine early the next morning. We were the first people to hit Vogue magazine. I couldn't believe it.
That's
So,
cool.
So they're like 5 stars that line up on 5 points. And then there's across from you, there's this big railing, and there's about 300 photographers that are very much like animals with cameras, who want to charge at you and get your picture, and they're looking at you, and they don't know your names, they say, "You, red dress, turn, hand on hip, and they're like shouting at these stars, like they're just like, yo, wow, It was crazy. I mean, it was nuts. Well, what's so cool about Alison Krauss? Here's the thing about her. I have to just say how cool she is. So that morning, she texts me and she says, "Hey, I want to take you out for a breakfast." And I'm like, "Don't you need to be getting ready for the ceremonies?" She goes, "No, I want to take you out for breakfast." And I go, "Okay, it's raining. Let me get my umbrella." And she goes, "No, let's walk in the rain with no umbrella." So that right before the Grammys, we're walking around in New York and it's like pouring down the rain, no umbrella. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
And I'm like, "Girl, you need to get back to your room and let them do your hair. Let them put you in the dress." That's just so cool. I think she's just one of the best friends I've got.
And she lives pretty close to you, don't she?
Yeah, she's like maybe 7 or 8 minutes from here.
That's cool.
Yeah. But now she's the real reason why I ended up with this Paramount job, because the music producer for this is T-Bone Burnett. I mean, he's pretty legendary. And he produced the Raising Sands album for Robert Plant and Alison Krauss that won 6 Grammys.
And he produced Bob Dylan too, didn't he?
He just recently produced Bob Dylan's new album.
Yeah.
And a brand new album for Alison and Robert.
Wow.
So, and of course it helps. I've been teaching his daughter through Zoom over the past year and a half, something like that. But he told Paramount that I was the only guy for the job.
That's cool.
So I feel very, very blessed and very honored.
Well, did Nashville just give you an award of something about music teacher award?
Well, that blew my mind, Scott. I mean,
it blew my mind too. I was like, wow.
I got an email saying that I had been nominated for Best Music Instruction.
That's what it was. Yeah. And he won it.
Over Vanderbilt University, over Belmont School of Music. I mean, both of those are big universities.
Oh, yeah.
And over the School of Rock and a couple of other things. And then here's Ron Brown.
By himself.
And it was almost a joke when I saw it, in the email that I'm reading all these institution, Ron Browning. And I'm like, there's no way. But I won.
And he did. He won it. Wow. Did they do a story on you then, or is there a follow-up they're supposed to do, or
not one thing?
They
I don't know. Not a box of chocolates, nothing. But I'm somebody told me that I think it's around Christmas time they do a big party and they have a dinner and that all the winners are invited. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just honored that my name got in a newspaper. I love that.
I saw
as a voice coach, we're a lot like plumbers and electricians. We're behind the scenes people. So we just don't get recognition.
Well, I think in USA Today was pretty good recognition.
Well, that was pretty good.
Alison Krauss done a big article about how you saved your voice. I thought that was pretty nice.
Well, the one is she went in the New York Times in the Sunday edition and called me a genius.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think you're part of the Nashville family now. That has to feel good, because they say it's a very small family.
I mean, Winona told me years ago when I worked with her, she said, "I'm going to see to it that the world knows who Ron Browning is." And really, it all started with her.
Right.
Because she brought Patti LaBelle to me. And then from there, just a bunch of other people. So, I mean, Carrie Underwood, I've worked with her. Winona, Patti LaBelle, Amy Grant, Vince Gill got me a very important job that I can't talk about.
Yeah, I know the job. I know I've got to let you lead this conversation because I don't know what I can say and what I can't say, you know.
Some of these stars just don't want other people to know that they saw a voice coach. And it's like, it's not like going to a gynecologist or
Right.
something like that. It's
Well,
just,
the way I feel about you is you save the music, you save the stuff that we grew up with. We're able to hear a lot of people in concert today because of you, because without someone like you, we wouldn't be able to hear the legendary artists that we love because you've worked them through something that they had going on, in their vocal,
I'm just happy to get to be part of, doing this. But I learned all this stuff in the church, growing up in the church back there and working with the High Notes Quartet and working with mom and dad and, all those, the church voices and stuff. And then, of course, I studied, I went to college, but, you don't learn stuff like that in college.
No.
You have to be inquisitive and you've got to be adventurous and, think and do your own experiments and figure out, what works and what doesn't work, But Scott, the way you were talking there, you sounded a lot like Jamie Johnson. Jamie Johnson credits me all the time.
Actually, the first time I met Jamie Johnson, that's the first thing he said to me. He said, I want you to know how special your brother is to me. He said, I've got his phone number in my pocket. So he said, anytime I have problems with any of my concerts or anything, he's always eager to pick up the phone and help me through it. But, and he said,
that's so sweet, but he does give me a lot of credit.
He said he had like 100 vocal coaches in his life and you were number one and always would be, because he said that there's things that you do that's not in textbooks that you figured out for yourself and it works, and
yeah, I'm not much of a textbook person when it comes to the voice because to me, the voice is natural. God gave it to all of us.
but
So
now,
it's gotta be something, that's simple to understand,
when all this COVID stuff's over, me and G-Man here wants to go fishing with Jamie Johnson. Just sitting that out there in case he sees it.
Okay. I've got to flash one other thing now. I have to flash one other thing.
Okay.
A t-shirt.
Oh yeah. Are you not allowed to mention them?
No, I can't. Oh, I can talk about
thought you
Greta
could.
Van
You
Fleet all I want. Yeah.
Let me tell you, I have became a big Greta Van Fleet mark. Love their music. Doc told me about them, and it reminds me so much of the 70s style music, and I just love them.
They're my kids.
They're right.
My kids.
So you tell them from G-Man, I thank them from Bico, Kentucky, for playing some great music again.
I will. I've got to show you this picture that he autographed for me. Let me get it.
Yeah, they
Josh is so funny, and he cracks me up. But he autographed this. Can you read it?
To Ron.
It says,
you read it to us.
Yeah.
to Ron, he says, without you, my throat would have dropped a long time ago. I love that.
Well, I thought he signed it to my guru. Did he call you your guru?
Yeah, he called me. Yeah, he called me his guru. And then Alison calls me Jedi.
Calls you what?
Jedi Master. She calls me the Jedi Master.
Well, I've heard you called the voice whisperer too. That was one of them too. I thought.
Well, I get called Yoda. That's why I've got a Yoda back there. Can you see it going off and on? So there's my little Yoda.
Oh man.
But I'm so proud of you.
Well, we're proud of you.
that,
We want to showcase
Scott.
you.
Well, thank you.
So many people grew up with you back here, and they're always asking me and G-Man, what are you up to? And And I thought, at least once a month or something, or once every other month, we'd touch base with you on the show. And that way they can watch the show and know what you're up to. And some things, of course, I would love to tell, but I can't.
Well, give me a hint, because maybe some of them you can't.
Well, they're the band that you worked with that people love back here, and you actually helped save the band a whole lot vocal wise. They're not the Birds. I'll say it that way. But
And they soar.
but anyway, you're not allowed to mention that, and we didn't.
Nope.
We didn't. But
No, we
thanks
saw
to them,
several
they
though.
got
We
to
saw
tour again.
several after mom and our brother passed away. We saw a couple. So
Right. And but now listen, you got to promise G-Man and myself, if Gene Simmons calls you, I don't care if you have to fly to Los Angeles to work with him and Paul Stanley, or we've got to be there to carry your bags in. Okay.
you got it.
Because that would be pretty cool.
That would be,
Wouldn't it?
we'd be his
So-
valet
so-
24/7.
We are Kiss fans still yet after 50 years,
Yes, die hard.
But that's the cool thing about your job is you keep those people in the concerts. You keep them. I mean, their vocal training so that they're not going to lose their voice. And matter of fact, most of them sound better. They tell me better than they did when they first started.
Well, actually, Patti LaBelle, they were going to cancel her show. That when she came, this was 2006. They were going to cancel her show that night because she couldn't make any audible sound.
Right.
She came in on Monday and she thought that if she just did vocal rest until Friday for sound check, that she would be okay. So she went on vocal rest and just whispered. She didn't use her voice. And then Friday night at sound check, she went onto the stage. Wynonna was singing with her, and her band played the introduction to her song, and she opened her mouth and nothing came out.
Wow.
And Wynonna texted me that night and she goes, I want you to come over and work with Patti. She's lost her voice and it's been out all week. There's probably nothing that can be done, but if anybody could do something, I think that it would be you. And Patti didn't want to do it. And Wynonna forced her to do it. So the next day, the day of the show, Wynonna calls me and she goes, look, I'm going to pay. She says, I'm paying for this. She says, Patti doesn't believe in voice coaches, but I'm going to pay for this. I want you to go over and see what you can do. Scott, I prayed my bottom off on the way over there. And I get there, I work with her for like 1 hour. When I first got there, she was just whispering. She couldn't make any, she was, she came. So, and she was sweet as she could be. I took a little piano over. I tried to run some scales for her to sing and she couldn't make any noise. Right. And I noticed that she was really stiff here. And I said, can I do a little deep tissue massage on your neck and your shoulders to loosen that up? And so she let me do it. And I said, it's really going to hurt. And she said, that's okay. So I used to put my elbow in Patti LaBelle's neck right here and dug my elbow down. And I'm thinking, Rod Braddock, what are you doing? This is like totally insane, Dug my elbow down in both sides of her, and she's, and I twisted her neck around, and then I put my elbow in her spine, ran my elbow down her spine. And when I did that, she went, and I said, there's your voice. I said, let me do it again. And this time pick the pitch up a little higher. And we dug her voice up out of her body where she was making some noise. And then once I got her making some noise and we could run some scales, and she did go on the show that night with her voice in much better condition than it ever had been. And I was the star backstage. Her family were standing back there crying. Her manager stood there with his arm around me, like, how'd you do that? How did you do that?
Save the
She was
show.
so afraid of me when she started to sing and found out that she could go up and hit those high notes, that she was laughing at 1 minute and then she started crying because she thought I had hypnotized her.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Didn't she give you a shout out there at the concert?
Oh, she did three or four different times. Yeah, and she thanked Winona for turning her on to, and she gave me the most beautiful little. She wrote a couple of pages while they were getting her into makeup and doing her hair. At the last minute, she said, "I never believed in voice coaches before today. You have made a believer out of me. You're a miracle worker. Thank you for my voice. Your girl, Patty."
Well, what I'm amazed with you is you work with every genre of music. I mean, like G-Man was saying about Greta Van Fleet. I mean, that's hard rock. You work with country. Kev Moe. By the way, thank you for letting me talk to Kev Moe. He's one of my favorites. I love him.
He's
Anybody
a man to work with.
Is he a great guy to work with?
Yes, he is. There's something very spiritual about that man.
Famous blues jazz artist. Man, he is just, well, as a matter of fact, he sings Mike and Molly's theme song on Mike and Molly, the TV show.
Yes.
Mhm.
He's very, very sweet person.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, I know that you probably don't keep up with the opera world, but I have done quite a bit, in the opera world. Maestro Lauren Moselle, who was the conductor of the New York Symphony, he passed away several years ago, so we don't have him anymore. But he also was the conductor for the Beijing Symphony and the Munich Symphony. And he would bring all those big players over here to the opera festival, and he would bring me in to work with the singers over there. So, and then Renee Fleming, who's a big opera singer, she's a Metropolitan Opera star, wants to teach a master class with me. And when she came into town to do a concert, see, she is friends with Alison Krauss. So she texted Alison Krauss and said, "Is your voice coach in town? Says, you two please come to my concert tonight and let's hang out." So we went, and hung out, and she wants to teach a master class with me. So I'm excited to do that. We haven't hooked up yet for that. That was like right before the pandemic.
Right.
There were a lot of things that were starting to line up right before the pandemic. Robert Plant being one of them. He wanted to come to me. So he's carrying my phone number around.
How many textbooks have you wrote some textbooks too on this, didn't you?
I've got about 5 different books.
That's what I thought.
I keep them in one great big organizer, but I'm waiting. I just really what I need to do is go back to Hawaii
Let's go.
and just
Let's go. Seriously.
not teach, and
Yeah.
just write on those books.
Just chill out.
Yeah.
Last time we went was a great trip, that's for sure. But that was in 03. But man, that's too long to wait.
Yeah, that was a beautiful, beautiful vacation. But no, I'm so proud of you. I mean, you've gotten involved in the wrestling and this. And
Well,
you're just one of the most little adventurous people that I know.
you've got to grow where God plants you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm planted here pretty tight with my friends, and so we got to grow. And but now here's the thing: you used to be planted here, and people still ask about you. So that's why
Well, I
I
was
thought the
planted
best way
there.
is to.
I was planted there, but if you remember, when I was part of the High Notes Quartet, we went everywhere.
Oh, I know.
I mean, on the weekends, we were in Ohio, we were in Virginia, we were all over, so.
Well, Dad was always like disappointed that you majored in music. And if he could see you now, he was like, "Man, why couldn't he be a pharmacist?" I'm like, "Well, he loves music." And Dad was like, well, there's no money in music. I'm like, are you crazy?
Honestly, Dad sees me now, Scott.
Yeah, okay.
You can't convince me that Mom
I
and
believe
Chris
that.
and Dad are not looking right at me,
I'm
and that
very
they
proud
have
of you.
set some of these things in motion. I just feel that.
Well, when's the last time? Like, I know Greta Van Fleet, they're touring now, but do they still come by and see you?
Oh, yeah. No, they do. In fact, I can mention this, but I won't go into any detail.
Okay.
We've started writing something together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We just need to have time to get together and finish it. So
Now they're originally from Detroit. Is that right?
they're from Detroit. Of course, I was born in Detroit.
I know. That's what I thought was neat.
It's really interesting that they're from Detroit, and they were also raised Pentecostal.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
So
you.
it's that spirited music, you know.
Right.
And I'm working with another artist from Detroit, Quinn 92. Do y'all know about Quinn 92? It's Roman numeral X C I. That's 92.
Can't say I've
He's-
heard it.
He's a rapper. He's like a hip hop
Okay, that's
rapper.
Yeah.
Hip hop rapper. Oh yeah, so I produce rap.
You actually like rap, don't you, Ron?
I love rap.
Yeah, that shocked me. You know, is there any music you don't like? I mean, really?
I tend to have a limit with music that is just like sad. It's like, okay, I like sad music because we need it and we've all been there and we can identify.
Right.
But sometimes it's like, I don't know, it's like celebrating being sad. And it's like we love it so much we don't want to get out of it. I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't
OD
know.
on it.
But it's still interesting. I just find it all fascinating.
Well, that's because
Wow.
you are a fascinating individual yourself.
Yeah,
Well, thank you. God bless you.
that's true.
Is it true?
It's true.
It's true.
That's so sweet of you to say that.
As we call it in wrestling terms, we're shooting straight with you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just I'm amazed in how many artists have told me, to me, how much you mean to them, And like I said, thank you for letting me hang out with Alison Krauss for a day. That's my crush for greatness right there.
There you go.
Well, was that not the coolest thing? You showing up and you both have like bibbed overalls.
I've showed up with bib overalls. I just had surgery like 2 days before that, and I was going to miss it. And so when I walk in, there was only 2 people wearing overalls, me and Alison Krauss. I thought
That's cool.
It worked out.
That was very special.
It really was. And then getting to hang out on the tour bus with Jamie Johnson was pretty cool too. I gotta say that.
Even though he left Sandy in the bleachers.
Poor Sandy. I hated that.
No, it worked out great. It was a guy's thing. It was a guy's
I
thing.
hated that. But that would be me. I'd have to go to the bathroom right
She
before.
did right at the wrong time, but right time for me. But no, he's just the coolest guy. He like I said, I want to go fishing with him one day. He's just one of those down to earth people, that is real special. And if he's not already considered a legend, he should be, in country music. I think because he writes the old style songs that that made country music what it is today. I think, but I'm a big fan.
Man, I'm a huge fan. He's just got the best voice.
No, I think so too. And he writes, he really does. And you can feel it when he sings, And
he's so funny though. He'll go and go and go, and then that voice will get in a mess, and I go, he'll call me, and I go, well, what's going on? And he goes, oh, my voice sounds like shit, you know.
You
It just sounds
you
like
can say shit on our show, by the way.
shit. Like that. And I go, well, that's a good thing, Jamie, because shit sells, you know.
That's
Yeah,
right. Shit
it does.
sells.
It does say it.
Yeah.
I got a question, Ron. This reverts
Yeah.
back to the old days. You're so busy now. I just got to ask this question. You know, back in the old days, you were a night owl.
Yeah.
You got so much stuff going on now. What is it like for Ron Browning now?
What's a day like?
Yeah.
What
It's
time do you
hard.
get up?
It's okay. So it's hard for me to shut it off and go to bed.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It's hard for me to do it because most of the time, see, this is fun for me. None of this is work.
Right.
Right.
It's so much fun that, you know, you can have too much fun and it's like, okay, I've got to go to bed. So it's kind of hard, you know, to shut down. Every now and then I get to sleep in late. Like I actually got to sleep in late this morning.
Wow, that's unusual.
That was very unusual because I'm usually up and I'm going. See, a lot of these singers like Allison, Amy Grant, they at Keb Mo, they have their lessons at 8:00 in the morning.
Wow,
Who can sing at 8:00 in the morning?
I can't.
Alison Krauss sounds like an angel. She sounds like an angel at 8:00 in the morning.
Wow.
I don't want to talk to anybody at 8:00 in the morning.
No, let alone sing to 'em.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah,
true.
I've got to have several cups of coffee and I usually have to be up 4 hours before I even see anybody. You know, when they come that early, I can't do 4 hours. I've got to put it at 3 or 2, but it takes me a good bit to wake up, you know.
So you're leaving in December to go to North Carolina, is that right? Or you don't know?
Well, yeah, but now here's the thing. When you're working for a project like this,
Mhm.
their schedules change daily.
Oh,
Like they would give us all a schedule and it makes you feel good because you know what you're going to be doing the next day. And then you go to bed, you get up the next morning and it's all changed, you know?
well,
So-
I saw some pictures of you and Michael Shannon at George Jones's grave. What was that like?
Well, here's what's crazy. Oh, that was very, very special. But did you know, nobody told any of us this, when we were recording that 10 days here in Nashville,
Mhm.
we just found out that behind the recording studio, there was a graveyard, big graveyard. And then one of the engineers that was there said, oh yeah, and George Jones is buried. His grave is like right over the hill.
Wow.
And we're like, you've got to be kidding me. Oh yeah, and then Tammy's like right over there. It was
So you can pretty
crazy.
much walk to it from the.
So we walked to it. We took a break one day, and the two of us, and we walked over there, and it was very, very special
Wow.
time, you know, because we've been working so hard on his music. Michael has read books, and of course, you know, digested his whole life, you know, and Jessica doing the same thing with Tammy. And so that was very special, very spirited moments of just going over there and just being very quiet. And it was very touching when he knelt down at the grave and said, you know, George said, I hope you approve of what I'm doing.
Oh, that would have been great.
He's a very sensitive person, but here's the thing about Michael. Everybody is kind of scared to approach Michael because he's such a big person, you know, like intense,
Right.
and he's played such villains and things. So in public, when we were out in public, like we went to see a musical together in New York with Jessica and Michael, and the public they were real sweet with her. They would come up and talk to her and have their picture taken with them. with her, but they would want to Michael, but they were afraid. They were afraid to approach Michael. Well, Michael and I just really bonded because I saw that he was a kid. He was like a kid, really. He's not, he's not what people think that he is. He just plays those parts
Right. He plays them well.
really well, really well,
Yeah. Wow.
really well.
Well, listen, brother. I think we've been going about an hour. See, I told you it would be that wouldn't be that bad.
I'm not easy. I'm not easy. I told you I would be like a squirrel.
And you
Chasing
was.
a nut.
We need to touch base at least maybe once a month like this and let everybody know what's going on. And we'll call this segment "Touching Base with Ron."
Yes.
But
Well, you all are very sweet, and I'm very proud of you.
well, we're proud of you too, and I love you very much, and hope to see you at Christmas sometime if we have to head to Nashville, maybe.
I'd love to have
an
you
option.
here. I would love to have you here.
That's an option.
It's a big 3-story house.
Oh, I know. With a guest house. I know.
All right.
Hey,
Thank you
listen, I
very
love
much.
you. Very proud of you, brother.
I love you too.
And we'll look forward to seeing you again and talking to you, touching base. Love you. And
Love you, Ron.
love you
Thanks for
very
coming.
much.
Christmas. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.